Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Tom Sherry.
Great to have you with us. I'm Jane McCarthy.
Really, the vast majority of this program we're talking about is about improving visibility.
Yes, in July, the Downtown Spokane Partnership launched a rebate program. It was aimed at businesses wanting to make some security improvements. The goal is to deter crime around properties.
KREM 2's Amanda Rowley met with 2 property owners who say they are already reaping the benefits.
About a month ago, the entrance to this downtown Spokane building had only one set of doors. Now it has this second set to prevent people from sleeping in the entryway.
There were often remnants of people that had been there, so you'd get everything from trash to drug paraphernalia or even human waste.
Christine Varela works at DH, a PR firm in downtown Spokane. She says the situation got so bad, her employees and customers avoided using this entrance. So she had the property assessed to see how they can deter this activity here. Through the Downtown Spokane Partnership's rebate program, the business was able to remove the inset door, which Varela says eliminated the problem.
We are just seeing the benefits of it now, but you can bring people through the front door of the business and not be embarrassed by the smell or, having our employees be greeted in the morning by sometimes a person sleeping there.
Now, Tom Hicks had 3 of his downtown Spokane properties assessed for the program as well. One of those properties is the old City Hall. Just last month, he had these security cameras installed around the building, and he's already seen improvements.
2 or 3 windows have been broken, at least on Old City Hall, and so we felt with the cameras there that would help drive the youth away from that area.
Hicks says taking advantage of the DSP's rebate program was worth it, especially since the improvements allowed building tenants to feel more comfortable walking through the area.
The kids now realize that they are on camera 24/7. So they don't tend to make this their hangout place during the daytime anymore.
The notion that we're hearing that preliminary feedback that says, yeah, we feel like it's changing that environment and it's making our employees feel safer, as music to our ears.
Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
And if you're a downtown business owner and that sounds good to you, the Downtown Spokane Partnership is still accepting applications for this program.
Yeah, the applicants may receive an individual match as much as $2,500, all to make improvements on their property. So if you're interested, we'll have a link posted on KREM.com. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi was in Seattle this morning.
Yes, she visited Harborview Medical Center to talk about lowering prescription drug costs. Last month, the House Speaker unveiled the Lower Drug Costs Now Act. Now, this would make lower prices negotiated by Medicare available to all Americans. Drug makers would also pay rebates if their prices go above the inflation rate and put a limit of $2,000 on copays for seniors.
But we do have to address the out-of-pocket, whatever it is, whether it's premiums, whether it's drugs, whatever it is, the out-of-pocket has to be addressed.
Supporters of a new bill say big pharma companies charge Americans up to 10 times more for the same drugs sold in other countries.
Spokane is joining dozens of other governments in a lawsuit against opioid manufacturers. City Council approved a contract with a Seattle-based law firm to join the suit against companies like Purdue Pharma, the maker of OxyContin. That company recently filed for bankruptcy to settle 2,600 lawsuits. About half of the states and lawyers have agreed to a tentative settlement worth somewhere between $10 and $12 billion. Council members say it's too early to speculate what programs would benefit from any money won. And even with these lawsuits, the opioid crisis is not slowing down. Now the problem has translated into more dangerous counterfeit pills.
Those fake pills have killed at least 2 teens in Western Washington. So we wanted to know if these kind of pills have popped up in our area. Mark Hanrahan joins us for a look at a story we're working on for 5 o'clock. Hi, Mark.
Hi guys, good afternoon. 2 16-year-olds in Keene County died of apparent fentanyl overdoses. Police believe they took what they thought were oxycodone pills when in fact those pills were counterfeit. Officials believe they were purchased on the street and they say they contained the powerful drug fentanyl. It's a growing problem not just in Washington, but around the country. So we went to Spokane Police today to see if this is a problem in our area as well. Plus, we wanted to know how to tell the difference between a real and counterfeit pill. Our Brandon Jones has been working on this story all afternoon. He'll tell us what he found coming up during our 5 o'clock broadcast. For now, guys, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Mark. Meantime, it is snowing in the
Oh
Cascades right now. Yes, and temperatures are really dropping overnight. A winter weather advisory also goes into effect later tonight for some areas.
Yeah, let's get right to it. 11 o'clock tonight is when it goes into effect, Jane. It does include portions of Kootenai County, Benewah County, Latah County, Shoshone County, areas of western Montana. Everywhere you see shaded in blue. Also down into areas of the Palouse and into southeastern Washington, and also down around Grangeville, north central Idaho. So 11 o'clock tonight through 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. The valleys could actually get anywhere between 2 and 4 inches of snow. This does not include Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Does not include Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. But in the mountains, especially the passes above 3,000 feet, 3,500 feet, could see up to 6 inches of snow falling in those locations. That is not an old picture, ladies and gentlemen. That is Stevens Pass right now. And as you can see, it looks like it is midwinter up there with heavy snow falling. It's also the same situation going on at Snoqualmie Pass. Snoqualmie seeing quite a bit of snowfall at the same time. Take a look at the satellite and radar picture, and you can see we've got some rain showers scattered across the area, northeastern Washington, the Panhandle, also to the south of us. This is all rain. We're seeing the snow in the mountains, but only rain right now in the valleys. Here's a closer view of where the showers are occurring. South on I-90, it looks like just before you get maybe to the town of Sprague, Washington, you'll run into a little bit of rain that way. But if you're going across the passes, be ready for winter driving conditions. And we may see some snow develop later this evening and in the overnight hours. Here comes the cold air, an overnight low of 28 degrees. Sunshine tomorrow, though, but we'll look for a high of only 47. For the weekend, we warm temperatures back up into the mid-50s and the overnight lows moderate. But I'll tell you, between now and then, all of our overnight lows are going to drop down into the 20s. We'll talk more about that coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Tom. Meantime, there is a decent-sized wildfire burning about an hour and a half away in Franklin County. That fire is between Connell and Mesa along Highway 395. It's grown by another 2,000 acres, and it now sits at 7,000 acres in size. So far, it's about 30% contained. So take a look at these photos tweeted by Washington State troopers and the Franklin County Fire Department. The county has not announced right now any evacuations. No homes have been damaged, and the cause of this fire still under investigation right now. Well, the state of Washington determined schools across the state would likely see a lot of damage if there were to be a major earthquake.
Drew Mickelson from our sister station in Seattle takes us to one of the campuses considered most at risk.
Just the intricate details that are in the building, you know, the glass that's here. You know, I would say that this whole foyer area is one of the most special places that you'll see.
He sounds like a museum curator.
K1, 2, 3 are all at lunch or lunch recess.
But Andy Justice is principal at Centralia's Edison Elementary School, one of the oldest in the state.
It hasn't changed at all except our birthday sign that's still up.
They just celebrated their 100th birthday, and the building is showing its age.
The cracks in the bricks, though, and, you know, a couple missing pieces and holes.
For the past 2 years, the Department of Natural Resources has been looking for schools considered high risk of destruction in an earthquake, either based on location, when it was built, or how. The age and unreinforced masonry at Edison put it on the list.
You know, you're always worried about what could happen. You have to. It's better to be prepared and not need it than to not be prepared and end up needing a plan.
We live in an active zone, so we don't fully understand the risk in a large seismic event.
State Superintendent Chris Rakedahl is going to ask lawmakers for $50 million in the next construction budget, or the capital budget, to update schools like Edison.
State geologists have identified and partnered with us to help us understand where those risks are greatest. There's a prioritized list. We want the legislature to build a separate category in the capital budget and then commit to it for decades so that we can just keep working through seismic retrofit.
This is a roster of like a boxing matchup that they had back when the schools had boxing growing up.
Edison's principal says they've done a good job preserving the history here, but without the state's help, the district doesn't have the estimated $3 to $5 million needed for earthquake upgrades.
We're always doing maintenance on our buildings and, you know, trying to get them up to grade, but where does the money come from?
Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
Well, the White House is now saying that it will not cooperate with the impeachment inquiry.
President Donald Trump attorneys sent a letter to House leaders bluntly stating their refusal to participate in the impeachment investigation. Whitney Ward joins us with these breaking details now. Whitney?
Good afternoon. That letter is threatening to cease cooperation at all with Capitol Hill on key oversight matters. The White House is accusing lawmakers of violating fundamental fairness and constitutionally mandated due process. The Trump administration says the House did not formally begin or vote to begin the impeachment inquiry, and they're also criticizing the conduct of House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has insisted, though, the House is well within its rights to conduct oversight of the executive branch under the Constitution, regardless of a vote. The White House letter comes the same day the president blocked the U.S. European Union ambassador from testifying before Congress about the phone call with Ukraine. He's now been subpoenaed to testify. He's set to appear before Congress on Wednesday.
By preventing us from hearing from this witness and obtaining these documents, the President and Secretary of State are taking actions that prevent us from getting the facts needed to protect the nation's security.
Guess what happened? The aid got released. And you know what didn't have to happen? There was no new investigation that had to get created. This whole thing is a fairy tale.
By the way, the ambassador is set to be in front of Congress next Wednesday, not tomorrow. Text messages released last week show the ambassador insisted there was no quid pro quo in the president's conversation with Ukraine, and that his request for them to investigate former VP Joe Biden and his son was simply conversational. We'll keep tracking these developments, of course, for you. For now, Jane, Tom, back to you.
Whitney, thank you for that update. Meantime, the Supreme Court is hearing arguments today in two landmark cases for LGBTQ rights. One case involves a man who says he was fired as a child welfare services coordinator in Georgia after joining a gay softball league. Another involves a skydiving instructor in New York who was fired after telling a client he was gay. The gender identity case involves a woman who says she was fired from a Detroit area funeral home after telling the owner she was transgender and planned to transition.
I mean, it's 2019. We shouldn't have to be having this conversation, but that's why we're carrying our efforts to the United States Supreme Court.
And the court is expected to issue its ruling in the spring, which would be a first sign of how the new conservative majority will approach gay rights.